Hello everyone. So I thought it might be useful for people to see how I get ready for a wedding. When I've done a wedding, I generally leave my kit and my brushes that day. I don't tend to clean or unpack that day unless I've got a wedding the next day. The reason being is I'm usually quite tired and I just like to come in and chill out. The way that I work is I have lots of these. I pack a brush set for each client. I like these because they pack flat, so they're good for putting it in a kit. But when you open them out, they stand up and you can actually put them flat on a surface, and it enables you to see what brushes you're looking for. And I place them in order of clients that I've used them on. So I will think, right, okay, bridesmaid number 1 is done. I'll put that over here, and I put them in order. And so at the end, if I need to do any touch-ups, I know which client has used which brushes, and I don't need to worry about cleaning brushes in between clients, which is really helpful if I'm on a bit of a time crunch. These brush holders are very inexpensive. These ones I got from TEMU. I think they were literally like £2 or £3. You can also get them on Amazon. I'll link some below. In terms of cleaning my brushes, I have a few techniques that I like to use. The first thing I want to say, and makeup artists, we all know this, but for anyone watching that isn't a makeup artist, when you wet your brush under the tap, you want to make sure you keep the water in the lower section of the brush. You don't want it to go into the barrel because that can loosen the glue in the barrel, and then you'll start to lose hairs from your brushes and then they basically become damaged and you have to throw them away. I've got some brushes that I've had in my kit since the 90s because I really look after my brushes, and you know, a lot of my brushes are really premium. They cost a lot of money and I need them to last, and they should last. So yeah, just make sure you're keeping water in the lower part of the brush, not getting into the barrel. And that's the same with the soap. Whatever you're using, whether it's shampoo, brush cleaner, fairy liquid, whatever it is, just make sure that the soap doesn't get into that barrel, because again, that's going to loosen the brushes, the bristles where the glue is. I like to use, this is the Beauty Blender charcoal soap. It's a premium cost, but I'm a makeup artist, so it gets out all the product. It's antibacterial. I do a first pass on my hand like this, and I squeeze out the product. Just put you down a bit so you can see. So yeah, I squeeze out the product, and then I just rinse that under the tap. And it comes with these textured cleaning pads. I then have these brush holders, which are really good for drying brushes in. They hold the brush downwards. The black one that I just showed you, that's from Primark, and I think this one I got from Amazon, but again, I'll link some below. But they're very handy if you've got lots of brushes that you need to dry. As you can see, my brush cleaning room is my utility room, so it's where I do my washing, but it's very handy for also cleaning my brushes in. The only other slight different technique I have is if I have a lip or an eye product that I want extra hygiene on, I'll go ahead and I'll use the same technique first of all. So I'll go ahead and just get the product out with the charcoal beauty blending soap. You go in, put a second amount on, and I'll use my cleaning pad this time just to make sure all that product is out. And I'll go ahead and just make sure that's all out. But then as a second pass, I'm waiting for a new one of these, but this is my ISO soap. So this is, I think it's 70% alcohol as well. Clean any other bacteria that might be in the brush, which is really good when you're working with obviously lips and eyes. You want to make sure they are totally clean, and then clean it in a little cleaning lid that comes with that ISO product. Again, I'll link this down below. So this is like a second pass, and you know when the brush is clean because the soap in the lid goes basically white and it gets rid of the red, and then you can just go ahead and squeeze that out and give it a rinse under the tap. Final step for lip and eye products is I will spray a little bit of isopropyl onto my towel, and I'll do a final pass just with the eye brushes and the lip brushes, and a very quick dab with any other powder brushes, just to make sure that there's no bacteria that's developed while they've been drying on the window ledge, so that they are fully sanitized and ready for my clients. Ready to go. I'm going to start with one thing that I know other makeup artists like to have in their kit, and if you can get hold of it, I think it's really nice for photos and videos and content in general, and that is the Anthropologie Hello Beautiful mirror. It's really nice to kind of get that first glance of, I wanted one of these when they were still being sold by Anthropologie, and for toffee I couldn't get one. My sister went to New York and I tasked her with getting one because there was one showing in New York, but by the time she got there they'd sold out, and we tried to get another one. Anyway, I managed to get this on Vinted and I got it for a really good deal. So I'm very excited. So I will pack this because it looks nice for content, and also it's just nice for the bride to have a like really nice bougie mirror. I keep it in the original packaging because it's delicate, it's ceramic, and it's rare, so I want it to last. So I'm going to put that in the original packaging and pack that into my kit. The thing we're going to talk about is keeping cool while you're getting lots of clients ready. Tomorrow I've got a big wedding. It's going to be hot. We are in a heat wave here at the moment in the UK. It's, I think, potentially 35 degrees tomorrow, so it's going to be scorching. Packing my neck fan. These, if you haven't seen them before, are great. The air comes out of these bits at the top. In the freezer, some neck cooling pads. And what I do is I put this on top, and then the coolness from the neck cooling pad comes through and the cold air will put that onto the client. If the client doesn't want it, I'll use it. But I also have lots of these. I have got 4 of these, and I could sell these for probably 15 quid a go at a wedding, because everyone's like, oh, can I borrow your fan, while they're sitting there getting ready, dying of heat. So I just pack as many as I can. I get these, I think this was from Amazon. I picked one up from a second-hand shop. I've bought a couple from TEMU. I'll link some below. But I would say, makeup artists, get them in your kit. Skin prep. Always start with cleansing the skin. I use the Bioderma and I decant into a mini. Just to save on space. If somebody needs exfoliating, I'm on a time crunch, I haven't got time to do kind of the scrubs or what have you. The Paula's Choice exfoliant mini is great, always take that with me. If someone's got very dry skin, I use the Willida Skin Food. Otherwise, I tend to stick with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream, mainly because I use most of her foundations on brides. I do have some NARS in my kit and some Rhodial, but they all pair quite nicely with that moisturiser. I usually spritz the face with Caudalie Beauty Elixir just to get more moisture into the skin. And if clients are particularly dry or they want that extra glow, I put a little bit of the Glow Recipe Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrops just on the cheekbones. The Clarins Beauty Flash Balm, which is nice to add a little bit of glow. And I've also got the Bobbi Brown Bare Glow, which again is really nice for giving that illuminating lit from within. Primer wise, I'm probably going to stick with my Factor 50. I need to pack my new one. This one's getting a bit empty. Charlotte Tilbury, because it's great, it's invisible, it's a great primer, but it's Factor 50. People don't need to worry about sun cream, and it obviously helps keep makeup intact. T-zones, I've got a couple of options. I'll probably use the Benefit Pore Professional. For anyone that's got enlarged pores or tells me that they're oily, I'll use this as a primer. Probably use this on the T-zone for those that don't have open pores but obviously are worried about the heat. I prep eyes with the Vitamin Enriched Eye Base by Bobbi Brown. It's just a really nice nourishing primer for eyes. Clients have a lot of redness. If I've got any mums or anyone with rosacea, then I'll use the Bare Minerals Prime Time Redness Reducer Primer. I always take with me just some simple eye makeup remover for any kind of makeup that might need removing as I work. Also take an oil-based makeup remover just in case anyone gets into my chair and they still have eye makeup remnants from the night before that needs removing, but it could be waterproof, so I'll always make sure I take that with me as well. So I like using one of these MyKitCo squashy bags. I don't think they sell them anymore, but they're so good because you can get lots of stuff in them and they kind of manipulate into the space that you have in your kit. So I like to use one of these for skincare. I think I mentioned actually, I also take my Laneige lip sleeping mask just to prep lips while I apply makeup. If there's any left when I come to do lips at the end, I'll just block the excess away, but generally it's absorbed and it's just nice and plumping and hydrating for lips, which in this heat is essential. Somebody tells me they're really anxious about being oily and sweaty and their makeup falling off. I might go ahead and use the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray and maybe just put a misting over my brushes, particularly when working on areas around the T-zone where you're going to use perhaps concealer and you don't want that to move. That can just help set that as well. And then into the skincare prep bag, I'm also going to put some cotton wool. I'm going to just put in the simple moisturiser as well, just in case I've got anyone with allergies. Okay, skincare is packed. As you can see, I've got lots in there. Every option I might need available, packed and ready to go. The way that I work, we all work differently as makeup artists, but if I'm doing a photo shoot, this is usually done by the production company. It's fashion week, then it will generally be the key artist that will prepare this, but for weddings, I'll do this as a schedule. And I generally find as a makeup artist doing makeup, which I am tomorrow, hairstylists are a bit more easy breezy. They'll give an arrival time. They say generally it will take me this much per client and they're quite relaxed, whereas I'm a bit stressed about how long makeup takes me, and I want to make sure I've got enough time to do the makeup, but then also do touch-ups at the end. So I always do a schedule of my arrival, kind of suggested times for the bride to get dressed, and then I put in the hairdressers, and I make sure that everybody can be done and we're not clashing, we're not doing things at the same time, which is then affecting timings in any way. I also prepare a face chart, so I'll have pictures from the trial. Obviously I've got these on my phone as well, but I always just like to have hard copies. I think I'm old-fashioned, but I also worry about technology, or what if my phone got stolen, or all these kind of things. I just like to be prepared. So on here is all the skin prep that I've done, all of the skin that I've used, what I've used on the eyes, etc. So that just helps me, almost like a paint by numbers on the day for the bride, make sure I'm replicating everything I've done on her trial. And obviously I've amended that if there's been any feedback after the preview, and any amendments they want to make. This is great. You can get these on Amazon and TEMU, and they're just really handy at keeping you organized when you're working. Very, very fine, tiny little Q-tips in the end. These are by MyKitCo. I've got 2 different sizes in there. And then just general cotton buds, mascara ones, lip ones, and then just some lip applicators and brushes. Also in the back there, just some kind of spatula disposables, just for when I want to get out some lipstick for hygiene, and then I can just throw those away. 50% isopropyl, just to keep everything sterilized between clients. Tissues, obviously a must-have. Always pack lots of tissues. Never have enough tissues in my life. And then I have some palettes, a contour and a highlighter palette, decanted blushes, and then I've got some of these EMJ brush rolls, and these have got all of my pencils in. So I've got my brows down this end. I've got kind of neutral whites, nudes here, browns, purples, a couple of navies, browns and blacks, and some liquids in there as well. Fortunately, EMJ is no more, but you can pick these up on Vinted and eBay. It's got all of my concealers in it and my brow sort of mascara ones at the end there. For eyelashes, I have a little bag like this. Again, I just like having everything I might need. I've got a few eyelash curlers in here. My kind of go-to eyelash curler is this teeny tiny one, which again you can get on Amazon. I like this because it just gives you a bit more control, particularly with older people. When we get kind of shorter eyelashes, just gives you a bit more control, and I think it gives them a bit more security that you're not going to hoik their lashes out. I've then got the neck size up, so slightly bigger, and then I've got full size for people who have got lovely long lashes, and I will often give them the choice and say, are you happy for me to do it? Would you like to do it? I've got duo eyelash glue. This is the waterproof one, so it's 24-hour wear. I'll be using in this heat. And then these tweezers are really good for actually picking the lashes off the packet. I don't want anything too sharp because it can actually take some of the hairs off the lashes, which is quite annoying. And I've got specific lash scissors, which I have learned to keep in this lash bag, because if I just have these lying around, they get used for removing labels and all sorts of things when people need scissors at weddings, and unfortunately it then destroys my lash scissors. So I keep them hidden away. I have another pair of scissors in my kit that people can use for cutting off labels, etc. Another pair of lash grabbers, which are really good for sort of applying them onto the eyelashes. And then I've got a normal pair of tweezers in there, so these are quite good as well. These come with the Ardell lashes, and they're quite good for applying lashes because you can use the pink tip to kind of press them down onto the eyes, and then the tweezer end to grab the lashes. So that's my lash bag. Top tip for keeping hair out of the way. Obviously, if you're working with hairstylists, it might be they've already got their hair done and out of the way. If you haven't, and it's first thing, hairbands are quite nice. They're very inexpensive, just nice to get hair out of the way, and they look quite nice if you're creating content. These are some really nice just hair clips. They've got a lacy design. These ones have got diamantes on them, again, just quite nice and bridal, and they look nice for weddings. And if someone's got long hair and they just want to keep it back, again, this is just really nice. It just adds a little bit more of a kind of high-end feeling, I think, when you're getting clients ready for a wedding day. I should say, one of the things I really struggle with, particularly with weddings, photo shoots are slightly better because I generally have a brief and I have pictures of the models, so I know skin tones and things. But for weddings, I just like to be prepared for every type of skin tone, every type of age, every type of texture, any issues, because brides don't always have the time to check if anyone has allergies or skin conditions. So It's a lot to pack for a wedding, but I always overpack, and I'm always trying to not overpack. You never know what colours you're going to need and all that jazz. So one thing I'm sure that a lot of bridal MUAs have in their kit is the Wedding XL palette from P. Louise. So I always put that in basically because it's pretty much got every single shade that I might need in terms of eyeshadow, and it saves me taking lots of different kinds of eyeshadow palettes. Put that at the bottom of my kit. This is a dupe of the Relavel case. The zip is starting to go on it, but I've got another one on the way, because what I don't like about this one, which I got from TEMU, is it doesn't have a separate front compartment, which I like to have, because then I can put flat palettes in there and eyelash palettes and things like that. So I don't have that in this one. I do like the fact that I've got the brush holder here. So although I've already got individual brushes for each client, what I like to do in this section here is put overflow brushes and things I might just need to grab. The Patrick Tar contour brush. Again, if I'm having trouble finding something in a rush, it's good to have one like that there. Some concealer and setting powder brushes. A kind of highlighter brush, but I use this in case I need to just flick away any fallout or anything like that. And then I've got mascaras ranging from black, brown, and maroon. And then I have various kind of under eye patches for brides. I've got my waste paper bin. And then at the bottom of my kit, I put my P. Louise Wedding XL palette. And this, in this section, is all of my foundation. So I have a variety of different products, so a lot of Charlotte Tilbury, NARS, Bobbi Brown, Bare Minerals and Rodial. Our liquid blushes, so again Charlotte Tilbury, I've got Rare Beauty, liquid highlighters. This is a really handy antibacterial spray for my hands. It's quite good because I can flat pack it. Pencil sharpener, deodorant, because I want to make sure I stay fresh. Obviously the hair slides that I've shown you earlier. So on top of the palettes for powders and blushes, I'm going to put my tissues, a bit of padding actually, just to protect powders. I'm going to put a sectional in next. I'm starting building this now. So I've got under eye correctors in here. These are Tilbury and Bobbi Brown. Our bronzers, so it's a cream bronzer from Rodial. Hoola bronzers by Benefit. Orgasm by NARS, that's a blusher. Tom Ford bronzer. And then this is a really lovely palette, the Instant Look of Love. It's more kind of apricot-y tone, so it's nice for kind of olive skin. The corrector palette from NYX, really good for blemishes, under eye circles. This is a lovely highlight palette and bronzing palette by Dior Maximizer, so I'll bring that. So that's how it's looking at the moment. Next, I'm going to put my powders in. One by Huda. What shade is that? That is Pound Cake. Quite nice for fair skin tone. Translucent Laura Mercier. Secret Under Eye Brightening by Laura Mercier. That's Medium Deep Setting Powder by Laura Mercier. And this one is shade 2. That's Secret Under Eye Brightening Powder for those with more of an olive skin tone. So I'll put that one in. I've also got a Rodial one. I love this setting powder. I do need to get another one, but it's got a nice yellow undertone. So again, quite nice for under the eyes for those with more of an olive skin tone or deep skin tone. And then All Nighter powder, which is, again, it's more of a deeper shade, but it's great for this heat. It really locks makeup on, so that will definitely be going in the heat wave. Highlighters, I'm going to pack my Afternoon Glow by Bobbi Brown. Nice golden highlighter. See if I can show you that. Very hard doing it one-handed. Yep, there we go. That's that one. And then I always end up using my Illamasqua powder in Dainty. Well used, but it works really nicely on fairer skin. Cookie by Benefit. Trick Tar blush palette there in She's a Doll. It's a nice one. Nice pinky shades, really nice for brides. Slot that in there. I always pack my Daniel Sandler highlighter in Ice. It's really nice for corners of eyes, for fairer skin tone. And then I love this Laura Geller highlighter. This is better for kind of olivey skin tone. It's in French Vanilla and Dolce de Lune, and is a staple in my kit. I always put this Pat McGrath one in. It's really lovely gold tone. And because it's a stick, it's really nice to put on the décolletage. Next, I'm going to put in the concealer roll that I showed you earlier and the liners. See if I can slot that in that gap. Maybe not. Maybe there. There we go. A couple more blushes in. This is a really nice one. It can open it for you. That's South Beach by Radial. That's a nice pretty pink one. Dandelion is an even pinker shade from Benefit, which again is just nice to have options. This is a really nice from Bare Minerals. People have slightly deeper skin but also sensitive. It's nice to have options for that. My skincare in next. So this is the one you saw me pack. So that's all my skincare setting sprays in above my foundations. So they can go in there. So that's kind of how we're looking at the moment. So these are some of my favourite eye products. So obviously I've got the eyeshadows. If anybody wants a shimmer on the eyes, just use a cream product before then going on with the powder. So Champagne Mesmerised by Charlotte Tilbury is a really nice gold tone. This is Star Gold, again Charlotte Tilbury, really lovely kind of bronzy colour. Another Eyes to Mesmerise in a kind of pewter colour is really nice if someone wants more cooler grey tones. This one is the Bobbi Brown Shimmer in Moonstone. Got some Bobbi Brown eye pencils, a Charlotte Tilbury eye pencil, the Bare Minerals eye primer and the Urban Decay eye primer. That's the kind of goldy tone, and then I've also got it in the kind of whitey tone, so they will go in next. What I normally do is put those in one of these zippy bags just so it's all together. So next I'm going to pack lips. This is my lip case. So in here I've got all different shades of lip liners ranging from pinks, reds through to kind of deep browns and burgundies, and then more of kind of brownie tones, pinky, nudes, neutrals. And then in the back I've got palettes, lip glosses, again different palettes. So lots and lots of options. Find the Bride's Lips with Anywhere Caffeine by Makeup Forever. So I'm going to have that just really accessible in the top here. The bride has got her own lipstick. And then I'm going to put in the eyeshadow shimmers that I showed you, the Eyes to Mesmerise palettes, sticks and primers can go in. Eyelash bag, applying lashes. And these are some body brushes that I like to take as an added service. I like to brush on the Bobbi Brown, it's face and body oil. It's so lovely on the décolletage. I usually start off with this and then I use my Pat McGrath stick on the kind of high points of the décolletage, and just if I want anything extra then I might just use a little bit of Cookie from Benefit as well. Okay, so final bits and bobs is these are from TEMU. These are really lovely actually. These are really natural, they're brown and kind of go down to nothing. So these are really lovely if somebody wants a natural lash. These are a bit more va-va-voom, very cost effective. Got my flat packed brushes in there, I've got my powder puffs all compact and ready to go. In this bag I'm going to put these makeup sponges, and I'm going to put my acrylic case that's got all of my Q-tips, mascara ones and everything included in those. So that's going to go in there. Put my MyKitCo palette in next for decanting all of my creams for hygiene, and that's the spoolie. I'm going to put that in there. And then I'm going to take my browsing brow palette as well, just so I've got lots of choices of colours. See if I can squidge that down the side somewhere. Perfect, in it goes. More brushes, see if I can squidge those in there. Put in my makeup light. I do take my stand makeup light with me, but this is really nice just as a handheld to take photographs at the end. So I'm going to put that in that bag there in the carry case. And then final bits and bobs, makeup sanitizer spray. I'm going to go ahead and put the fans in this carry case. I'll probably wear this one around my neck, to be honest. I'm going to just go ahead and put my hair band and my hair grip in there. A little bit tight, but I'm pretty sure I can get all of that in. And then just my isopropyl is just going to go in the top here like that. And now all I've got to do is get it shut. Okay, I've decanted some of my beauty blenders into this bag because everybody was getting a bit compressed in here. So decanted my lip products into these little Ziploc bags, and I've just taken a palette so that I'm not carrying quite so much. An empty brush canister here to put all my dirties in and bring home, as well as the ones I've got in my kit, which I'll also use to bring home dirty brushes. But it's just nice to have a kind of empty one so that as I'm working I can just use this to put other dirty ones in. Schedule packed setting spray. I'm going to put my water in here. My neck fan can go in there, and I've got my handheld fan, and I've got my makeup light as well. And there we go. That is my kit packed. Already in my car I've got my chair and I've got my light. Just remembered one thing that I always take with me, and that's my sewing kit. It's got a crochet hook, really good for helping brides get into dresses with lots of ruler loops. This is always needed, cutting labels off. Brides, if you're watching this, cut your labels off before the day. And a sewing kit, you would be surprised how many bridesmaids I have sewn into their dresses. I've also got some plasters in there, various other things that you might need. So that always goes in, and what I normally do is just put it into the side here, into that pocket, so I always know that if someone needs a pair of scissors, I can direct them to that pocket if I'm busy. So I hope you've enjoyed this video on how I get ready and pack my kit for a wedding. It's a very similar process as to how I pack my kit for photo shoots and fashion weeks. It's just I normally have more of a specific brief for those in terms of models. I always make sure that I have a range of foundations in terms of shades and colours, so that I've got everything for every skin tone and client that might sit in my chair. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nikki Mullard. I'm a hairstylist and makeup artist based in the UK. See you soon.